Hi, what's up, guys? It's Will back once again. We're here for Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series Week 6 predictions. Sorry I never got this out yesterday. I was going to do it, and then my computer decided it wanted to do an update, which took hours. So here I am for this predictions here. I actually think this is a really fun week. I think we're going to have some really good fights. I think we're probably going to get at least three fighters probably in the UFC added here. So, but there's some people in here that I've had my eye on. I made a prediction video way back in March, and there's a guy on here that I like predominantly on there. So I'm just kind of going off Wikipedia here, so it's kind of a little bit all over the place. I've no idea. I thought Nchukwi was the main event, but things seem to have got changed around a little bit. So I'm just going to go through this. If you can throw a thumbs up in the video, it'll be much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit that button. We're trying to hit 4,000 subs by the end of 2020. It's a little bit slow at the minute. Hopefully it'll start to pick up towards the end of the year and we can get some subs in the door there. But let's get started with this fight card prediction here. First fight on the card I'm looking at is Cameron Church against Sherrard Blackledge. Both guys 4-0 here. So yeah, looking forward to kind of this one here. Blackledge is a guy that I was mentioning before in my prospects to kind of keep an eye on. And one of the reasons I kind of came across him was because Joanne Calderwood was talking about him. Comes out of the Las Vegas, out of Syndicate MMA, so the home gym of her, obviously. And then you've got someone in Church who comes out of California. Both guys, like I said, undefeated. Both guys have kind of got different kind of talents and such. I think both guys actually don't have the greatest takedown defense. I think that's something they could both actually get better at. When I look at the positives of kind of both guys, Blackledge to me, I think he's got the sharper hands. I think he throws in combination more. I think that he will kind of mix it up with a lot of kicks. He feints very well, can keep his distance very well, and is very, very kind of accurate as a striker. And I think he can just really mix up well. I think where Church, to me, I think he's got good kicks. I don't think his hands are all that good. I think he's decent in the clinch. And like I say, he's very, very aggressive. Like a fast start. He comes at you very, very hard. But he throws his shots very... he doesn't throw in combination, really. He will throw singular shots and he will be open to being countered. And against someone as accurate as Blackledge, I think that that will kind of play in his favour a little bit. I actually really like him. I'm sitting here thinking whether I'm going to bet him as an underdog tonight, because I don't think he should be an underdog in my opinion. And I think that Church, as the fight kind of progresses, I think he will start to fade. I think Blackledge will actually come on with the cardio and start to really pepper him with strikes. But like I say, it's two guys 4-0, probably facing the best guys they've kind of ever fought. I think Blackledge against strikers is going to have a really good opportunity to win a lot of fights. I think the grappling's kind of more where he might come into trouble a little bit. I don't think Cameron Church is really going to grapple with him here. I think he's going to strike. I think he's going to get countered very, very easily. I think he keeps his hands low, and that's never, never good. So to me, Blackledge, better fighter, better athlete, but it's kind of hard to tell at 4-0. It's the Dana White Contender Series. Sometimes it's hard to really gauge fighters and where they're at. But I like what I see from Blackledge. It's a guy that I've had my eye on at least for this year, towards the end of last year. So I'm going to take Blackledge for the win there. Wait, let's see where we're at. I've lost my train of thought there, where I'm at. Next up, we've got Mano Martinez against Drako Rodriguez. This, to me, in my opinion, is the closest fight we have in the card. Both guys 24 years old, both guys 6-1, and both guys very obviously hungry to get the UFC contract here. There's a whole story behind Mano Martinez and Dana White. I've not really looked into that too much. You've got one guy fighting out of Texas and Martinez, and you've got Rodriguez fighting out of Iowa. If you're looking at kind of the cons of both guys, I think Rodriguez, to me, again, lacks in the takedown defense. I think that's something he definitely needs to improve on. I don't think his him getting pushed back is something I don't like. When you see that in the regionals there, where he kind of really doesn't react well to pressure, and he can get pushed back against the cage. That to me is a little bit of a red flag, especially as you're moving up and facing better caliber opposition. When I look across to Martinez, I think he's super aggressive. I think he can be hittable a little bit. And Rodriguez, to me, has some decent power there. Again, he's a guy that I think needs work on his takedown defense. I don't think his grappling's all that good. And I think he can be taken down. I think he can be controlled on there. And I think he can spend large parts of the fight on the ground, which I don't like. Some of the pros for both guys, I do think Rodriguez is the better kind of grappler, but he doesn't really show that much. I think he is fairly well-rounded, but not really great in any one aspect. I think he's good in his grappling, good in his striking, good in his clinch work, moves well, cuts off the cage well, feints very well. So he does everything fairly well. To me, when you look at the more aggressive guy, Martinez, I think he's got good kicks. I think he's got knockout power. I think he can go hard for the 15 minutes. I think he's got decent cardio. And I think he can counter-strike really well. So, again, I see this being super, super close. I think the betting lines indicate that, where Martinez is the slight favourite in this fight here. But I just like the output and the cardio more of kind of Martinez in this. I think Rodriguez will, in my opinion, I think he will try and grapple, even though I don't think he's a great grappler. But I think that's where he could possibly stop Martinez from really getting into his flow. Like I said before, Martinez, I think he can be put on his back, and I think he can be left there for large parts of the fight there. So, to me, I'm going to take Martinez, even though I think that... I think it's a very close fight. My money would be on Martinez if I had to make a bet in that spot there. So I will take him to win that fight there. I'll maybe take him via stoppage as well. Even though I do think it has all aspects of being very close, I think that he could have an opportunity to finish the fight as well. Next up, I think we're in the middleweight division. Let me bring this up here. Yes, we are, with a guy's name that I might actually butcher here. It is... where is it? I've lost my notes. I've lost my page. Ah, there we go. It's Aliaskhab Khizriev, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm not too good with that name. It's not one that I've looked at too much and comfortably... looked at all that much really, but he's against Henrique Shiguemoto, who is a guy that I know a little bit about. He's fought some decent caliber opposition, and to me this is kind of interesting for the simple reason that Khizriev is a guy that we've not seen in a little bit, which is a little bit interesting to me, and he's moving up a division from 170 to 185, so he's going to be, I think, undersized in the division, but with a 12-0 record, the guy's got some decent wins there. Or he's on a decent streak. We've not seen all that much of him out there. There's not a whole lot of kind of tape, and I've watched a couple of fights, but to me, he's solid grappler, really good striking. But coming from Russia, you know that they're going to grapple their backsides off. Shiguemoto to me has got some big power himself. This is a tough fight for me to pick, because the whole taking the time off and being out for long parts of, like, I don't think he's fought in a couple of years, so that's kind of interesting to me to see kind of what's going on with that. He is 30 years old. Like I say, fighting out Russia, 31 with Shiguemoto, 13-3 and 1 is his record. If we're looking at some cons there, or looking at some things that aren't great, I think that when we're looking at Khizriev, I think is how you pronounce that, I think he can be a little bit hittable. I think he can be a little bit wild, which I don't kind of like, but very fast starter, really good takedowns, solid wrestling I should expect, with some heavy ground and pound. When you look at Shiguemoto, I think that he's very hittable. He's very kind of upright as a striker. You can definitely get in close. You can hit him there. He's very flat-footed. Doesn't cut off angles well. Can be pushed back and can be hit. So someone like Khizriev, who can come out here and swing some bombs, might be able to get him out of there early. Like I say, he is a fast starter. When you look at some of the things that I like about Shiguemoto, everything seems to be heavy thrown. So kicks, high kicks, body kicks, in the clinch. He's just got heavy strikes, and I quite like that in him, but I think he can be taken down. So this is kind of where I'm going at here. I think Khizriev, to me, I think he can grapple. I think he can take someone like Shiguemoto down, who he can like dominate down there, and I think he can get taken down and blasted out. So I'm going to take Khizriev for the win there. I actually think at 13-0, if he has an impressive performance here, I think that you have to probably sign him up. If fight's boring, you maybe give him another fight in the Dana White Contender Series later on in the year. So yeah, I'm going to pick Khizriev to win there. I'm going to take him via stoppage, via ground and pound in the mid part of this fight. Next up, light heavyweight division, Tafon and Nchukwi against Matavao. To me, they're setting this one up for Tafon and Nchukwi to win this fight. No disrespect to Al, I think he's very experienced. He's more experienced than what you've got in Nchukwi, who's 3-0. He's only 3-0, but he's got a win over a UFC fighter now in William Knight, who won a contract last week. And that's, like I say, since that fight, he hasn't fought since last November, which is not a good look. Comes out the Lloyd Avon fight camp there with some of the kind of other African warriors. He's from Cameroon. You've got Sodiq Youssef, who's a guy who he does a lot with there. Massive power. 25 years old, he's the bigger guy. Matavao, I don't think he's a natural light heavyweight. He's more of a middleweight. Came in at I think it was 199 in the weigh-ins yesterday. Fighting out the Alaskan kind of fight scene. What he has got is he's got some power and he's scrappy. I just don't think that's going to be enough here, because I think he's against a guy in Nchukwi who's got more power and it's just a better overall striker. When I look at the three fights that you've watched in Nchukwi, you can't really take too much away because he's beaten them and he's not really shown any deficiencies in his game. What he's got is he's good in the clinch, really good, excellent striking, can throw really hard elbows, hard knees, can really pick his shots very well. Haven't seen anything of his ground game because it's just not went there. When you look at Ali, I've seen him taken down. I've seen him being put in some positions that I'm a little bit, it's that's not great. I don't think his cardio was all that good. To me, they're setting this up for Tafon to come out here and blast him out and get a win. Like I say, if it goes late, then maybe Al could come into it. But for me, I've got Tafon and Nchukwi to win this one in the first round. I think he knocks him out. I think his power is going to be too much. And I think he's going to put it on Matavao and win this one very convincingly. So I've got Nchukwi to win round one knockout. I'd be surprised if this guy doesn't get at least another fight, gets an opportunity in the UFC. If not, I get another fight in the Contender Series, which I don't think would be a bad thing, honestly. But yeah, I'm gonna take him to win that one via knockout. And the main event is what it's saying on Wikipedia here. We've got Khadzimurat, I think, Bestaev against Phil Hawes. If you've been around the fight game long enough, you'll know who Phil Hawes is. He's a guy he's actually got he's fought some decent names. He's came up a couple of times short. There was a lot of hype with this guy coming out with Jackson Wink. He's still only he's 7-2, sorry. Standing at 6 feet tall. He's against a bigger guy here in the American Kickboxing Academy's Bestaev, who's 6'6". He's a big guy. But he's fought a lot of guys with bad records, with 0-0 records. He had 4 of them. Okay with his striking. Like I say, I think he's dangerous in some clinch positions. Got a guillotine that I've seen. Got some knees up the middle, which I liked. Bad takedown defense, didn't like that. I've seen him been put on his back, not been able to go off his back and lose the fight through that. And his cardio's not great. Now, the one big thing with Phil Hawes is that we've seen him in spots where he looks dominant, and then he'll start to fade out a little bit. But he has got some big advantages in this fight if he decides to use them. I think his takedowns, and he is the far better wrestler. I think his takedowns and his ground and pound can absolutely take this guy out if he gets him down just one time. But if this fight starts to go on a little bit, I'm a little bit worried that his chin, and we have seen him knocked out viciously on the Dana White Contender Series. We've seen him on the Ultimate Fighter. So he gets to the big spot and then never really gets there. And his cardio does go really quick, which worries me. And obviously with his striking, with his wrestling, if he decides to use that game plan, which I think he might, I think that could drain his gas tank. But you've got someone in Bestaev who I don't think's got the greatest cardio himself. So yeah, to me, I'm picking Phil Hawes here. He should win, but I saw the betting line is like -500. I'm like, I mean, he should win, but that's risky in my opinion. Like, he's fought like your Andrew Sanchez's and Lewis Taylor, who won the PFL Million, and Julian Marquez. I think that he is just better in a lot of spots here against Bestaev, and I think the UFC are trying to give him that win, get him into the UFC, maybe build him up a little bit, because he was a guy that did have a little bit of hype at one time. But yeah, he should beat Bestaev here. I've got him to win via ground and pound in the first round. So that's my picks here for this week's Dana White Contender Series. I'm actually pretty confident in this one, but with the Dana White Contender Series, you never know what guys are going to make big improvements in their game. We've seen that last week. Jose Johnson had the worst takedown defense ever, and Ronnie Lawrence fought a great fight. He's now in the UFC. So it's the variance in the Dana White Contender Series, it is tough. But if I'm looking at making it one bet this week, I actually really like Blackledge, and I'm going to wait for the rest of the day and decide whether I want to make that bet. So that's the one that I think I would make. I would like a bigger number. He's +110 in the UK right now. I would like a little bit more than that, but it is what it is. So thank you guys for viewing in. I know there's a few in the chat there. I appreciate that. Until next week, we'll be back. I'm hopefully going to get my UFC predictions out for tonight if I can. I've got a couple more fights I need to watch, but keep an eye out for that. Until then, all the best. Enjoy the Dana White Contender Series tonight. I'll be tuning in. All the very best. Take care, and I hope your bets cash if you put any money down in these fights. Peace.